Hey everyone, so I'm just doing a quick negative space demo and using the charcoal reduction method. Alright, what you're going to need first is you're going to need your charcoal. You can use the Vine charcoal if you have jumbo charcoal, I would use that, but a soft piece of charcoal. The charcoal I have right now isn't that soft, so it's going to be a little bit harder to coat my paper with. You're going to need a kneaded eraser, alright, so that's like this gummy substance eraser, and you can actually change like the shape of it, so if you need like a little point or anything, you can really manipulate this eraser how you want. Also, this eraser doesn't pick up as much charcoal dust, so if you want really light values, or if you don't want to pick up as much dust in the beginning to like lightly erase out your shapes, you can use that one. And then you're going to need the white plastic eraser. I'm using also this Derwent eraser. It's like an automated eraser. It spins. That way it's easier to pick up the charcoal, but mostly I'm using it because it's smaller in size and I'm using a really tiny piece of paper just to do a quick demo with. So you guys don't really need an eraser this small unless you want to use it. You guys can outline your shapes with the larger erasers because your shapes are going to be bigger. So first thing you need to do is coat your paper with the charcoal. Using the side of the charcoal like we did in the mass drawings when we did gesture. You might have to go over it a few times depending on how dark you want the background to be. Don't leave these white edges like I'm doing, alright? So make sure you get rid of all the white edges. Then you want to take a rag and kind of push that charcoal dust around and like buff it out a little bit. And you can leave marks in the image, that's fine if you want. I also, if you guys are interested at all, use this charcoal powder. It's a loose charcoal dust, or you can even like make your own charcoal dust by like smashing your charcoal in a bag or something. I like to use this to create like more fluid marks in the image. And if your charcoal is soft enough, you shouldn't have any issues to begin with, but my charcoal, like I said, isn't very soft. So that's good enough for now, for the demo. Alright. You still want to think about like angles and stuff, and spacing and kind of like all the setting methods that we learned before, but this time everything is going to be more like in reverse. So I'm going to start by, first off, I want to make sure that my angles are kind of correct. So I am going to kind of draw in the general angles and spacing of that like mid part of my chair. Alright, and I don't know if they're exactly correct because I'm kind of drawing on a flat surface here. Alright, then I want to, this eraser's a little bit too large. Draw in the negative spaces, alright, not the positive spaces. Think about the spacing still. So if I drew this way too wide, that negative space of the chair is going to look like way too wide, and then in the end the chair is going to look really wonky. So if I erase this out, which I would wait till probably to the end to do all of this, but if I erase this all out, this would be the negative space of the chair that I just drew. And see how it kind of left that positive space of the chair there? So this is going to be a little bit smaller. So I made these spaces a little bit too wide. change the proportions of my chair a little bit. And I think sometimes whenever you erase things out, you might make edges and spaces too wide. You can actually go back in the end and like fix up those lines with charcoal. And I'll show you what I mean by that. Good enough. So whenever I'm drawing the edge, I'm still paying attention to this negative space here, but you still do want the edge of the chair to be in there because you're really drawing the negative space out here. That's creating this edge. So it looks like I'm paying attention to the positive space here, and whenever you get to the edges, you kind of are paying a little bit more attention to it. That angle is exactly right, but so whenever I'm drawing the legs of the chair, I have to make sure these lines match up. So from this negative space to this negative space, I need to make sure those lines are still matching up. Otherwise, the foot of the chair is gonna kind of be off center and it won't look right. And I kind of didn't give myself enough space for this. Okay, so now you see by me drawing in all of these negative spaces, it gave me basically the outline of a chair. There are things that need cleaned up and fixed. So I'm going to now, at the very end, go in and erase all my negative space out. This way you can kind of see a little bit of what your composition is going to be. These areas, I erased them out first. That way I didn't get confused about which areas were negative and which areas were positive. Because sometimes whenever you have like a striping close together like that, you can, it's easy to get confused. This is all negative space. And if you want, you can leave some like interesting mark making with your eraser too. It doesn't have to be like solid in how it's erased out, as long as you get the gist of the positive negative shapes in it. All right, so if I needed to go back in and fix some edges, so see how I erase this edge out? That's when I can go back in with my charcoal and start like fixing up those edges that I might have erased out. Or like there's some distortions in here, so I might have to, you know, go back in, fill that whole space in, and then so this is basically like erasing now. When I cover a spot up, fill it in, and then I redraw with my eraser. Okay, so it's literally just drawing in reverse. Okay, cool. And that's basically it.